All right, Nick, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are back in training camp making plays. I watched their training camps live on YouTube the last couple of days. It's been really exciting for me. Football is back, and this is the best time of year. We really start to feel football getting back. Pads are just around the corner. But the Ravens have really seen a lot of growth in Lamar Jackson, and I'll let you touch on that a little bit more in the story that you have. But before we get there, Ravens fans, we're going to go to a couple games this season. We're really excited about it, but we want to know, let us know in the comments below, what games are you planning on going to this season? There's a number of really big Ravens games this year. Very exciting as a fan. Let us know what games you want to go to this year in the comments below. But Nick, why don't you get into the story about the Ravens?
Yeah, so this is from Nick Shook over at NFL.com. Shook wrote, "This is a Lamar Jackson story, but it's not about his contract. No, this time around, it's about Jackson's arm. Specifically, it's about potential improvements Jackson's had made coming into training camp. His offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, the much maligned Greg Roman by a lot of Ravens fans, believes it could open the door to a whole new world for Baltimore. I think it's the best I've seen him throw it thus far," Roman said Friday. "What are we, 3 days in? And he's probably throwing it better than I've ever seen him throw it. He's really worked hard in the offseason, and it's showing. So we've just got to build on that. It's really exciting, and we're all very excited." All right, Maya. So obviously, as a Ravens fan, yourself, I'm sure you have very mixed feelings about Greg Roman in general. But what do you think about Roman's comment here and Jackson overall so far?
Well, I've seen the light. I'm glad he finally sees the light. I think Lamar's been criminally underrated as a passer, especially the last few years. I'm not saying he's the top of the top, but he's not as bad as people make him out to be. And I think he's been hindered. He is, as well as a couple other teams, he doesn't have quite the supporting cast as the top tier teams have. But I think this year, they're building a special type of offense around him, something that's really going to benefit him. I think he's done a lot of work this offseason. Obviously, he's met up with receivers, and they've done things like that, practice together. And I think he's ready to come back after a multitude of things going on, whether it was the whole team plagued by injuries last year, some devastating playoff losses. In his contract year, he is ready to turn on the Jets, and I'm really excited to see what Lamar is going to put on the table this season. But Nick, I think the stats also kind of back up a little bit what I've been saying about Lamar, that even last year he was criminally underrated, don't you think?
Yeah, there's this narrative out there, and it's pretty false. I think that Jackson actually struggled last year, or he didn't have a good year. Took a step back, and that's just not true at all. Obviously, he ended the year hurt, which leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. But if you look at his numbers before missing the Bears game in Week 11, you look at yards per attempt; they're a little less than 8, which is kind of the line for being an elite quarterback, right around 8 yards per passing attempt. You look at his passing yards per game; that's really high at 272-ish. When you combine rushing and passing, it's 343, which obviously with Jackson, you kind of have to combine a lot of those rushing and passing yards, a big part of his game. All of those numbers would have ranked in the top 8 in the NFL. Think about that for a second, right? Everyone's critical of Lamar Jackson as a passer and his growth and development as a passer. But before things really went off the rails, when I really think the injuries really hit them, obviously Jackson being hurt did the damage. But once their defensive backfield just got absolutely devastated, it kind of forced the Ravens to change how they play a little bit offensively. I think that yin-yang concept went out of whack. And then you saw some of the numbers dip offensively for Jackson after that. And of course, he got hurt. But I think when you look at these numbers and the big games he had, obviously the massive comeback against the Colts, he threw for 300 plus yards against a really good Denver Broncos secondary in Denver. That's not easy to do. He had the big comeback against the Vikings. So Jackson, before missing the first game, was playing at an elite level. People forget that. And I think the fact that he's looking even better based on Roman's comments is just further proof that he's going to have build off of that and play at a similar, if not higher level in 2022.
Yeah, and I think a couple of things the Ravens done in the receiving core. Obviously, Rashad Bateman looks really strong in camp. He's made a number of good plays. Young player James Prochet looks really good. Devin Duvernay has looked really sharp in camp so far. Another guy that I'm really high on, we are high on this show, Coastal Carolina tight end rookie Isaiah Likely. He's brought in a lot of praise from Lamar and other people in camp this year, and he's done well in the training camp so far. So, the Ravens have a lot to look forward to offensively. Obviously, we're not the traditional NFL pro-style offense. It's a little bit more run heavy, more tight end based, things like that. But it's going to be very interesting this year for Baltimore. And as I said, I'm excited to see what they have to bring to the table.
All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.